Okay, so for those that have been asking, let me show you how.
I'm a corporal in the United States Marine Corps, and I'm here to crush the new.
All right, Matt's here. We're gonna see how many thrusters you can do. So I got 18 in 30 seconds.
Yeah, you did. I was behind the.
Fuck with me.
If recruiters were smart, they would stop like preaching the whole like honor, courage, commitment, and how badass.
This is what your SDA says about you. Number one, drill instructor. If you're a drill instructor, there's two options there. Number one, you're just a piece of shit who wants to scream at people because you have so much pent up rage.
Want to be a military influencer on social media, you better save this video and you better pay attention. All right, because I'm going to tell you, the ARC, it is more than likely going to cost you your career. Yeah, it'll get you fired. It'll get you out of the military really, really fast. And the ARC of the social media military social media influencer, they are in the military. They start posting. They start getting some likes, some views, some traction, some followers. And then they just try to be a little too stylish. They try to be a little bit too attractive. They try to be a little bit too funny, right? And that's when the haters come. And somebody's going to see one of your videos, and they're going to send it to somebody who's in your chain of command, and now you're going to start getting negative attention. You're going to start getting in trouble, right? Even if it's not a formal punishment. We all know in the military how shitty it feels to get called in by your sergeant major. Like your little balloon knot is going to be pucker factor times 10,000. It is, And so if you want to be a military influencer, I'm telling you, more times than not, it's just you're going to have to pick one. You're going to have to choose one. And I'll tell you, I've done videos on this. I think my social media is what got me fired. Okay? And listening to Jasmine, Abe, Staff Sergeant Angius' wife, on Anthony Glenn's TikTok Live the other day, she's more focused on the fact that she's being investigated for malingering, which, how many gunnies have you ever heard, like, in your life? I've never seen a single Marine get investigated for malingering, let alone a gunnery sergeant, and actually one that has legitimate injuries. Anyways, she's having to request masks, and they're just doing too much. But when the investigating officer talked to her, and I'm paraphrasing here, listening to her on Anthony's Live, it was like, I became obsessed. It was a female lieutenant colonel, I think. I became obsessed with you and your social media, and I've been watching you and all this stuff. And that's what the conversation was about. Okay, it wasn't about whatever formal stuff the command was looking at her for, and that's exactly what happened to me. Okay, I didn't get talked to about going into anybody's apartment. I didn't get talked to about violating the Privacy Act. That was like, and 99% of the conversation that I had with the commanding officer who fired me, it was about my social media. And I got pissed off because it's like, this is, you found a loophole, you found a fall guy, it got too noisy, you wanted it to go away, and you went to the staff judge advocate and you're like, where can we, what's the legalese for getting this guy, Sergeant Major, Barry Bull, fired? Violating the Privacy Act? Are you shitting me? Have you ever heard of that in your life? I've never heard of that in my life. Never heard of it. And when people hear that, I think maybe the only people that would relate to it or can relate to it are other military, content creators, influencers, whatever you want to call them. And when I've talked to Staff Sergeant Angius before, he was getting targeted. He was supposed to be the 2nd Battalion drill master. It ended up not happening, And when you guys from the outside looking in, when you see their social media, you go, what's the problem? Like, they didn't say or do anything wrong. They didn't say or do anything wrong. It's like, Staff Sergeant Angius never said this, but I watched one of his videos where he is like, he's got his campaign cover on and he's like, oh, let me take my campaign cover off because, you know, well, if I have it on, it's a problem. And if I take it off, you know, apparently it's not a problem and all this. And I'm thinking somebody must have said something to him about making videos. And again, he never told me that, you know, but that was what I took from it because I was in the military for a very long time. All right. So if you think you're going to be social media, look at the social media. And I put some of them in the front end, just little clips. Okay. I remember Koke Yepes. All right. Yes, his content is totally different now. He's the reason I started posting on social media. And I know he got in trouble for his social media. Okay. Now, is that why all these content creators, is that why they got out? Is that what they would say? I don't know, but that's how I interpret it because I was there. All right. I remember talking to him, you know, Koke Yepes, Matt McDonough, Angel Fit, Austin Alexander, you guys, Austin Alexander, and now Stasser and Angius, you know, his wife Jasmine, myself, right? Anybody else you guys can think of, right? What's the guy's name? Oh man, white kid. He just got out too. There's a couple of them. One guy's a machine gunner. I can't think of these guys' names off the top of my head. The other white kid, he was a 08661, I believe. Tyler something is his name. Tyson. Okay. Like, now he's never told me that he got in trouble from his social media. Okay. But, you know, and you guys drop it in the comments, anybody else that you've seen. All right. Get pulled in, get called in, get a verbal counseling, a written counseling. Right. All of a sudden you start getting targeted. All of a sudden you went from sugar to shit. Okay. Because you got to understand something. I was hand selected to go to a 06 billet. I didn't have the time and grade. There was a lot of other guys, sergeants majors, that wanted that billet. I was I'm not going to say slated because there's going to be a sergeant major out there who's, you know, but I was projected to either take an independent battalion in 1st Marine Division or go to this 06 billet in 3rd MAW. I chose the 06 billet in 3rd MAW. There was a lot of people that were pissed off about that. Okay, they were already hating on me. I hadn't even been posting on social media, really. You know, that was a little bit. I started in the summer of 2019 on Instagram. And, you know, people are talking to me about, you're on a path to definitely go to the general officer level. And all it took was one video. Now, you got to remember, too, this was way back in the days. Okay, this is 2019, 2020. You can say whatever you want. If there was a sergeant major out there who was more well-known than me, drop him in the comments. Nobody had done what I did. We were all still learning a ton. And that's a part of why I'm doing this video. Because you guys got to start paying attention. You know, like when I do videos on certain people, you know, sometimes their career's over. Sometimes their career's over. Like seriously, over. They don't do a follow-up video on that. You know, Staff Sergeant Collins in the Army. I had no idea that she was getting administratively separated for like the last year that she was making videos. I had no clue. You know, and I've done 100 messages on this. You guys got to be careful who you're pumping up in the comments, man. If you care about that content creator, whether they hate me or whatever it is, they got a career, they got a life, they got a family, they have dreams, they have goals. Don't be pumping them up to get them to say or do something stupid and do another video when they probably shouldn't. You know, the first video that got me in trouble was the stupid, cringy, don't rush challenge. You can look it up for yourself. All I did was I went from camis to civilian attire and I blew the camera a kiss. That was it. I didn't say anything like political, none of that. And you know what ended up happening was one of the Marines that worked it was an administrator, the MO1s, who worked in the 3rd MAW Staff Sec. For those of you guys who don't know what the Staff Sec is, it's a very 5 to 10 Marines. They're administrators, 01, 11s normally. And, you know, at the general, at the headquarters building, you have the G1, right? That's where all your admin folk go. Well, you know, they put like a real small special group in. Anyways, so one of those Marines went and showed her old sergeant major while all the sergeants majors were in the office of the 3rd Mile sergeant major. And it just turned into a shit talking session. All right. So, you know, drop a comment with your experience. I'll probably do another part on this, man. But, you know, I remember, and again, Austin Alexander, amazing, amazing content, YouTube page, all of his stuff. He never told me this, but it looked to me like he was getting in some hot water there. And it just gets too noisy, and then you got to weigh your options. See, for me, I consider myself lucky that I didn't start posting until after I had already hit 20 plus years, man. You know what I mean? And it's like they say, if you're gonna get a DUI, make sure that you're a private or a PFC on your first contract or a sergeant major on your last one, past 20 years, you know? Not that there's ever a good time. Maybe that was a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying. And I want the best for you guys. I don't want you to lose your careers, man. You got to weigh your options, and you got to, just be careful, all right? Because even though all the people that I named, they appear to me to be doing very, very well, you know? And if any one of them sees this and you guys want to tag them, and maybe I'll try to find their pages and tag them, I would really love to hear what they have to say. You know, because it just ain't all it's cracked up to be, man. I don't even want to get into the military romance scams and the scammers that they use all of our pictures, and your phone is ringing at 3 a.m. from some weird lady from Ireland and Michigan, and they're flying out to see you, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Try having a relationship when that stuff is going down. Or when scammers are messaging, you know, just anybody that you know in your family, okay? So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up, guys. Like I said, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. This is on my YouTube, and this is my YouTube, so I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate your support, because without you and your viewership and all that, it wouldn't even be possible. So you guys, and if I left somebody out that you want me to cover, drop them in the comments, all right? See you on the next one.